As a deer hunter, I want to know all I can about America's favorite big game animal. That's why I became a deer farmer. Without deer farms, we lose our greatest resource for research and whitetail management. With them, we gain more knowledge than ever before. Join me as we discover the truth about whitetails and meet those who work every day to preserve this great species for future generations. My name is Keith Warren, and this is Deer and Wildlife Stories. Welcome to Central West Texas, everybody. Hi, I'm Keith Warren, and today's Deer and Wildlife Stories comes to you from just north of the town of Brady, Texas, where we're at D Bar Whitetails. Now, D Bar Whitetails has not been breeding whitetails very long, but they've got some monsters. On today's show, we're going to show you some giant deer, but we're going to tell you why the folks here at D Bar Whitetails got started deer farming. Odds are, if you're watching the show, you are a deer lover like I am, and more than likely you're also a deer hunter. And if you're a deer hunter, you know how hard it is to manage a piece of property to grow really big trophy deer. And this program today is brought to you from a place out in Central West Texas that they tried to raise big trophy deer. They tried hard, just like most of us have tried, and they failed. And what we're going to do, we're going to tell you what they have done to overcome the challenges, and they've got some deer like you won't believe.
My name is Gary Stokes. I'm owner of the D Bar Whitetails. We've brought in a wildlife specialist, Brian Wilson, which is taking care of the breeding operation. And I would say in a short span of 3 years, we've done what maybe it would take normally 6 years to do.
My name's Brian Wilson, ranch manager at D Bar Whitetails. We're located 20 miles northwest of Brady, Texas.
So what does a guy do when you're starting to raise some good deer, you're on a good program, you see results, and all of a sudden the deer jumps the fence and doesn't come back? A lot of people just throw in the towel and say, that's it. They put up a high fence. And that's exactly what happened right here at D Bar Whitetails. Every morning, deer farmers head to their pens early. What Brian did this morning, he mixed up his own little special mix of feed. And we go to the pens early because we want to make sure everybody made it fine through the night. They're not feeling bad. You feed your deer early in the morning. You want them hungry, so they come up to you. When they come up to you, you can get your eyes on them. You can make sure that everybody is there and everybody's feeling good. So we're fixing to head to the pens right now. Feed the deer. We're going to show them to you. They're really pretty. Deer and Wildlife Stories is brought to you by Record Rack Deer and Elk Feeds, the North American Deer Farmers Association, Advanced Deer Genetics, Beam Fence Company, New Dart, Divine Genetics, North American Deer Registry, Protect the Harvest, Headgear LLC, Newport Laboratories, Superior Milk Replacer, and Dr. Ray Favero's Whitetail Genetics. Viewer feedback is presented by Protect the Harvest, Protect the Hunt. All right, this one comes to me from a viewer by the name of Jared. He's from Oklahoma. He says, I love your show and I want to become a deer breeder. When you say quality over quantity when picking your startup deer, what do you mean? Jared, that is a very good question. What I mean by that is everybody's on a limited budget. Some people's limited budgets are a whole lot bigger than others, but you're on a limited budget. What I recommend you doing, spend more money on fewer deer. They'll be better genetic deer, and it'll get your program started off a whole lot better. You know, a lot of people wind up thinking more deer are better. Well, that's not necessarily the case. You'll get a lot more deer in very little time, but start out with fewer, better deer, and that's what I'm talking about, quality over quantity any day. Right now it's mid-August on a deer farm. The bucks are just about done growing. This is West Texas. It's hot here. This is an arid part of the state. And so what they're trying to do is come in while the deer are still, well, they're cool. They feel like getting up and moving, and it's the best time in the world to check them out when the deer are feeling good. Because when the deer aren't feeling good, they're going to be stuck underneath shade trees, and what we don't want to do is look at them from afar. We want to look at them from close. And this cloud cover will burn off here pretty quick. All right, show me some deer, Bubba.
We got some breeder bucks around here.
All right, well, I don't have to have any introduction to know who that is right there. That's got to be Ace in the Hole.
That would be Ace in the Hole himself.
And how old is he?
He's 4 this year.
Holy smokes, look at him. You know, and just looking at that deer and seeing as many deer as I've seen over all the years I've been doing this, look at him, and I can tell he's a Gladiator XL son.
Yes, sir.
I mean, he just, the look. And for those of you who don't know who Gladiator XL is, you're clearly not in the deer industry, or you've been living under a rock if you are in the industry, because Gladiator XL has been a legend. He's a beast. And you bought Ace in the Hole really as a cover buck, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Explain why you did that.
Well, you can own your AI success is anywhere from, we've had as low as 30% up to 90%, but you still have that extra percentage that's got to be bred by a buck. So you've got to have a good quality breeder buck, backup buck, to back up what it didn't take to AI.
And right now, last year, he was how big?
He was 496 at 3.
Okay, so he's bigger this year for sure.
Oh, without a doubt.
A lot bigger. And the cool thing about looking at him, he's just a cool looking deer. He's got it all going on. I mean, he's got drops and he's got width and mass, and he's got a lot of stuff going on, but he's pretty and he's able to hold his head up.
That's right.
I think the interesting thing about coming to D Bar Whitetails and lots of deer farms is when you start looking at these big deer, you become desensitized, if you will, at looking at them. You think, how big really are they? And so you wind up going to the pen, you see Ace in the Hole. Ace in the Hole, folks, I don't know if you know this or not, but as many years I've been traveling around doing this TV show, and as many thousands of bucks as I've seen, Ace in the Hole, I want to point this out, is the largest Gladiator XL son that I know of, period. And so you look at him in the pen. I mean, he's got drops and mass and all these points and stuff. He is absolutely beautiful carrying himself. Realize he is the biggest Gladiator XL son that I know of. And at the same time, too, he's so big that King Max, who's in the pen with him, King Max is a beast of a deer. But Ace in the Hole is so big that he just dwarfs King Max, and King Max is a giant. I mean, here we are, it's middle of August, and these deer, I'm guessing, are 95% done. What do you think?
I believe so.
I mean, they're, you know, you'll hear people in the deer industry, oh, my deer really come on late August. It's like, yeah, that's wishful thinking, I think, a lot of times, because most of them pretty much, you can tell right now what they're doing. But Ace in the Hole is a beast of a deer. Let's talk about pedigree for a second. I mean, what makes him so valuable is the pedigree, right?
Yes, sir. You know, it's one thing that's really unique about him is he's 3/4 Texas blood, and he's that big.
And so, you know, a lot of people
And
don't
carrying
think
his antlers.
Yeah, they don't think that Texas deer are going to get big. Texas
Right.
blood going to get big. Well, I'll tell you what, when it's all about genetics, I mean, it really is all about genetics. And so you look at him, you think 3/4 Texas? That's a nice deer right there. Okay, well, who's that other big deer? He looks familiar to me, and the one with all the stuff going on the brows. He
Well, he
looks real
should.
familiar.
You filmed him last year.
Who is he?
That's King Max.
From George Tunall?
Yes, sir.
I'll be doggone. Yeah, George Tunall owns Tejada Whitetails, folks. He's a real close friend of ours. And he hadn't been breeding deer long either, but George has got it going on. He's got some really great genetics. And so King Max is how old now? 3.
He's
right?
3 this year.
Woof, look at him. So at 2, how big was he?
He was right around 330 at 2, 30 inches wide.
Oh my gosh. But look at him. Now you bought him from George also to use as a cover buck.
That's correct.
Okay, so in both Ace in the Hole and King Max were used last fall to cover does. And so you've got babies on the ground out of both of them now.
Right.
Okay. All right, we'll show you those babies here in a minute. The cool thing is on a deer farm, when you're doing things right, the best genetics are not going to be Ace in the Hole or King Max. Although they're fantastic genetics, the best genetics are going to be your babies. because the reason why you've been stacking genetics on top of genetics for so long, that the babies, I mean, that's the reason why as a deer farmer, we're so excited every year. It's like,
That's
oh,
right.
I can't wait to see what I got next year, because it's going to be bigger and better every single year. So
You go to planning what you're going to breed your fawns to.
That's
as soon as
right.
they hit the ground.
And so literally right now, what we wind up doing in the deer industry, we are forecasting. It's like, I like that, that's popular, that's valuable. And so we're already playing the game. Who we're gonna breed with, what are we gonna do to position our herds in the best possible position to make our goals happen.
You know, you're thinking 3 years ahead on everything you do.
We are. And so what we're gonna do now, we're gonna go around. You've got some yearling bucks now on the ground out of your own stuff, right?
We got some yearlings out of Ace.
Okay, and we will wind up showing those to you along with a bunch of other deer right here at D Bar Whitetails. Don't go anywhere. Closed captioning provided by Keith Warren's Texas Hidden Springs Ranch. Now it's time for the Beam Fence Minute.
I'm Mark Beam from Beam Fence Company. Today I'm going to show you how I stretch wire. The way we stretch wire is kind of unique from other companies. We designed and patented our own machine. What's special about this machine is it lifts up the wire and stretches it as you go as the tractor moves ahead. The machine allows us, when we're going up and down hills, to be able to maneuver the machine in a position that allows the wire to stay straight and follow the ground. With 27 years of experience, if you've got hills, mountains, swamps, whatever you've got, we've been through there, we've done it. This was a patented piece of equipment that we built. If you want more information about this machine and my company, you can contact me at beamfence.com.
If you just joined us on the show, I'm about 20 miles north of Brady, Texas at D Bar Whitetails, and I'm seeing firsthand how they're so successful growing huge deer. Taking me on an everyday standard deer farming tour is D Bar Ranch Manager Brian Wilson.
This year's yearling crop is really exciting because it's the first, offspring out of Ace in the Hole. And they're already so much better than last year's yearlings looked. I mean, our 2-year-olds this year have exploded from last year's 2-year-olds. So with looking at the yearling crop this year, I can't wait to see what they look like at 2.
Alrighty, so this pen has a little bit more cover in it for these little guys, and these are all yearlings?
Yes, sir. Well, all but one, but
I can tell which one's not the yearling. Yeah, and I know why he's in here to keep order, but man, I mean, they're all beautiful. They're all just nice looking deer. There's none of them that are really standouts, just
right.
Giant.
But they're pretty uniform across.
But across the average, they're all just beautiful. And out of all of them, how many are in here?
There's 23 deer in here.
Who are they out of?
Their biggest part of them will be out of Ace in the Hole.
Okay, so this is your first offspring from Ace in the Hole then, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Well, and they're too young to be able to judge anything by it at all. And the thing that we've learned from the deer farming industry is simple, that don't judge a yearling, don't count him out.
No.
I mean, you were telling me a story yesterday about a deer that was like, what, a little 4-pointer as a yearling, and then what did he do at 2?
No, he's a straight up slick spike.
Okay, and then what did
he's
he
going
do?
to be 180-inch 2-year-old.
Yeah, and so the whole story, if you're watching this show, odds are you're a deer hunter. And deer hunters, we're all deer hunters. That's the reason why we got into deer farming, because we couldn't get enough hunting them. I know that years ago, there was a deal in Texas that you ought to shoot spikes, because once a spike, always a spike. Well, we found out that is absolutely not true. And we've done enough research to know that's not true.
That's correct.
I mean, but that's the deal. Deer farming allows us to do so many things and learn, get so much knowledge from these animals. And so as we look at them, we're going, the one thing that's uniform across all of them is their pedigree. They've all got great pedigrees. Now, if somebody wants to buy a yearling, would you sell one of these guys?
Absolutely.
Okay. So if they want to come out and take a look, okay, you're just about 20 minutes out of Brady, Texas, and give them a phone number, what they need to do to get a hold of you.
You can reach me at 325-226-1480. My email address is bwilson@dbarwhitetails.com.
And if you're watching this show online, and then you can, any questions or comments that you have about the show, post them down below here. If you're not watching online, just to let you know, you can go online 24/7, go to my website, and you can watch all of our shows and get a hold of Brian, and he'll be happy to show you the deer. When is the best time for somebody to come out here and look at deer?
Actually, about this time of year, if you're looking at bucks.
Yeah,
You know, they're still docile. They're not fighting, breaking things up. I mean, it's mid to end of August.
Okay, so if you want to see the bucks, you need to give Brian a call and come on out here. Like I said, it's about 20 minutes outside of Brady, Texas, and he's got a lot of good deer. And these guys, by the time this show runs and y'all wind up watching it next year, these will be 2-year-olds, and I can't wait to see what they're going to look like as 2. Because I'll bet you, just looking at these guys right now, I'll bet you at 2 they're going to average 180 inches, more or less.
Oh, I'd say you're right on.
I mean, you know, at 2 years old. And so, with that being said, you do have a pen of 2-year-olds here, and that is the the offspring that were here when you got the place, right?
Correct. Whenever I come on board, that's the offspring that was in their program whenever I arrived.
Okay, so what we want to do now, we want to go take a look. We'll show you those 2-year-olds and see, because what happened when Brian came, he changed the game here. The 2-year-olds that we're about to show you, they were already basically set up in a program here. Brian's come in, brought a new philosophy, new genetics, a new direction, and these 1-year-olds, they're going to be better than the 2-year-olds that we're fixing to show you. If you're ready to get started in deer farming, go to deerandwildlifestories.com and click the Get Started Deer Farming tab.
I've been involved with the deer industry for 14 years now. If I could give anybody any advice, it would be basically buy the best genetics that you can for the money that you're willing to spend. Don't get caught up in the numbers game. Go out and buy the best genetics you can and get started from there.
All right, all these are 2?
Yes, sir.
Every one?
Every one of them.
All right. So as I look at them right quick, trying to figure out which one is my favorite. And I think, okay, that one, then no. That one, no, maybe that one. They're all good deer.
Yes.
All good deer. And you know, the thing that gets me, talking to Gary earlier and hearing him explain his frustration with trying to grow deer in a free range environment, I mean, it was impossible.
Right.
It's impossible. I know there's a lot of people, like QDMAers, as I call them. They want to believe in that they do quality deer management and that they're going to be able to grow these big deer. You know what? I understand, and I mean, I wanted to believe in doing that. There's so many people that have tried to do that and failed, and the reason why they failed is not because of them, because of other people. And so it's for that reason that people take it into their own hands to start growing their own deer. I mean, look at this.
Right.
I mean, y'all have got to be proud of this, but this isn't, you're not happy enough with this, are you?
Oh, no.
I mean, these are really big deer, but they're not happy with these deer. They want to get them even bigger than this. And so it's for that reason they brought in all these other genetics to make them better, right?
Right. And it's not just that we want them bigger, we just want it more consistent.
Okay.
You know, I'd love to have a consistent 200 to 250 inch 2-year-old, more of a typical type frame.
Mm-hmm.
What you're not going to get there is breeding with 200 inch deer.
But these deer were all born on here then?
Right.
But it's from all the old breeding program that was going on before you got here?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. These deer have got great genetics. They don't have the kind of genetics that you want to have in your deer breeder program. So where do they go? Tell them.
We're going to stock them on our ranch, and you know, it's the same as if somebody else wants to up their genetics, we would sell these deer to them to up their program.
So any deer out here that you're looking at, folks, is for sale. Literally, you can come out here, you can pick out each one that you want, and he'll be happy to take it to you. Brian, he's got a trailer. He'll load them up, take them, dump them off in your place. If you want to talk to him about stocking your place or getting in the deer industry, give him a telephone number.
325-226-1480, or you can email me at bwilson@dbarwhitetails.com.
And I'm sitting here looking at all these guys going, you know what? 10 years ago on a deer farm, people would have been, you'd been the talk of the town.
Oh, it's crazy how much it's progressed.
I mean, things have just gone so fast in the deer farming industry, and it's all because of genetics. We have got it figured out. We used to think that it was the buck. We used to really think that, and you got to have a good buck. Don't get me wrong. But tell them about what's going on with the doe side.
Oh, the doe side's crazy. Whenever you can go to, like a deer auction, and the top end genetic does are bringing anywhere from $20,000 to $150,000.
For a doe, $150,000 for a doe. The reason is because it comes from the doe. That's where the greatness, I think, comes from it. You've got to, like I said, you got to have a good sire. But if you don't have a great doe, you're not going to play the game on the breeding side. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, that's 100% correct. One great thing about the whole deer farming industry is, we got into it to better our genetics. Well, we can also help you better your genetics. You can give me a call. We can sit down, discuss what your goals are, what your budget is, and we can put you a package together on however you want. If you want to release fawns, yearlings, bred does, if you're looking for a buck to put out in your pasture to breed your does, we can accommodate whatever it is, whatever goal it is that you're after.
So in a short period of time, thanks to deer farming here at D Bar Whitetails, they've actually been able to transform this piece of property into something that they couldn't have done with a gun and a bullet in over 100 years. I mean, think about that. The genetics that are now on this piece of property, thanks to deer farming, are as good as they get.